So we all know that the Miami Heat is out of the playoffs, been eliminated by the Boston Celtics. But a press conference over the past few days happened with Pat Riley talking about the team and their star player Jimmy Butler, which where he doubled down and says we're not looking forward to trading Jimmy. But he also said another interesting comment that we're gonna get into after the measure. But I'm gonna pose the question: is it a mistake doubling down on Jimmy and running it back with a similar team? Was it time to shake some things loose? Let's talk about it right after this. Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in to the number one place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.
Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode on NBA Essential. It's your boy Stevo. I won't be here before you long, but I just had to talk about this conversation with the Miami Heat. And I don't know. I think Pat Riley is taking, and the whole organization of the Miami is might not be taking serious of what's been going on the past few years with this organization. Now we already know the Heat culture is a real thing. We already know with this team. This team is a dangerous team when you let them get in the playoffs and play their Heat style culture type of game. But at the end of the day, when this press conference got over with, it came to the conclusion that for the most part, they're gonna keep the same remnants of the core that they've been winning with, going to the finals with the past 3 to 4 years. And I don't know if that's such a good idea. The reason why I say that is because one, the person you double down on is shaky. The reason I say shaky is because you never know how his regular season is going to be health wise, attitude wise, and production wise. He can give you an MVP type of regular season, or he could just stroll on by, get ready for the playoffs. He's that type of player. And to his credit, Jimmy Butler is what 34 years old, going on 35. So he's kind of built up the, I would say, respect level of he's allowed to kind of play like that. But to me, I'm not the type of player, and I don't think the Heat culture is a type of team that's gonna. If you could play, you should be playing. If you're gonna play 100%, you should play 100% at all time. But let's get down to the nitty gritty of things. So Pat Riley had I guess it was the end season press conference. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was the end season press conference. And they told him some questions like, "Oh, do you think is it time to move on for Jimmy? Do you plan on moving him in the market?" With him being probably the most valuable player on that team currently next to Bam Adebayo. But he doubled down and said, "We're not looking to trade him. He's a key piece of what we're doing here. This, that's, and third. We already know how you feel about it." But the interesting thing he asked is one of the reporters there asked him about his comments that Jimmy was making on the last few games of the playoffs when the Miami Heat was in the playoffs against Boston. And y'all know, y'all seen the memes on Instagram like, "Oh, if I was in the game, or Boston will be at the crib, or we gonna be playing Boston, or this, that, and third, and everything." And Pat Riley came out and said some Pat Riley shit. And if everybody know anything about Pat Riley, we kind of expect this a comment like this from him. So he came out and said, "I don't know if this is trolling Jimmy. I don't know if he is this serious, Jimmy. But to me, if you're not on the court, you should keep your mouth shut." And that's been my thinking with Jimmy. Like everybody knows, like I do have a respect level for Jimmy. I just don't like the motherfucker because he think he better than what he is. Now, don't get me wrong. The reason he get that respect level because we did see him will this team to the finals twice, and I mean, especially that first time. But I mean, willed them. Like without him, they're not making the playoffs. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that at all. Everybody know the type of player Jimmy Butler is. Everybody know what type of competitor Jimmy Butler is. But at the end of the day, when you really look down at the whole production of the whole team, especially the last 3 years. Let's just looking into the last 3 4 years. This last year you finished eighth, which is 46 and 36. Not the best. Of course, with everything going on, it's not the best. You had a lot of things going on, a lot of injuries. You made a lot of moves in the offseason. You didn't get the move that you wanted in Dame Lillard, so we understand that. But if you go to 2022, You're still in the eighth position, finishing 44 and 38. And then the year prior, which I think that's the year you went. I don't know if you went to the finals in 2021. I'm not sure. I forget. But 2021, you had your best winning year as a team, finishing 53 and 29. And the year before that, you was back down to 6. So in the last the trajectory is shown over the past 2 years that you're going to be a top eighth seed at best. So you're not really one of the best teams in the West in a conference that's not super dominant compared to the West. But in the East, they should definitely, based on what he's been doing, based on what the roster currently looks like, they should easily be in between 5 and 6 constantly. So the fact that we've been seeing them drop each year considerably is pretty telling, and it's showing you like, yeah, like don't let this team get you to the playoffs, because once they're that type of team, if you let them into the door, you putting everybody at risk of them possibly drowning everybody else, because they're built for the playoffs. They got playoff experience, they got finals experience, and the way they play half court wise fit the game style of a playoff game. So that's why nobody wants to go up against them in the playoffs. But the fact that you're basically relying on the play-in game isn't good either. It's not good either. Your goal, and I'm pretty sure Pat Riley goal, is not to be a play-in game the last 2 years, especially with the team he constructed, bringing in Kyle Lowry, bringing in other people, um, Jovic stepping up this year, Jaime Hotcats, who they drafted out of UCLA. Bam, of course. Duncan Robinson stepping up and at times. Tyler Hero had a drastically better year than he possibly did, less injury riddled. But I don't know if this is the route you want to go if you really want to stick with Jimmy Butler. Like, don't get me wrong. Are you potentially putting that Heat culture at risk, getting rid of Jimmy, or letting him go whatever he decides to go to, or whatever the case may be? Maybe, but I still feel like the core starts with your head coach, Eric Spoelstra, so I'm not too worried about that. But when it comes down to Jimmy Butler, it's just there's a bit of inconsistency in his play, as well as there's a bit, and he's not getting any older. Like 34, finna be 35 next season. Like, you don't really have too much game in you left. Like, you got less games in front of you than you have games behind you. So when we looking at the last 3 years in terms of production of Jimmy Butler, don't get me wrong, the stats aren't terrible. Trust me, the stats aren't terrible. In the 2021 season, he averaged 21 points per game. The year after that is 22.9 points, but then he dropped significantly this year. It's not significant. He dropped 2 points. He's only averaged 20.8 points a game. Whereas he also played 60 games this year. Last year he played 64 games, and the years two prior to that, he only played sub 50. So not only is he kind of being, I won't call him injury prone, but he does have an injury history of nagging little injuries here and there. And you have not built a team where around him yet where he's not going to be the focal point anymore. So if he's not going to be the focal point anymore, oh, by all means, keep Jimmy Butler, keep building what you're building. I am an advocate for, you need your vets. He's the type of player that you want to have in the organization probably the rest of his career, because he would do more for your culture more than anything. But I don't know if you want him to be your number one anymore. That's the whole topic of this whole episode. Do you really want Jimmy Butler to still be your number one player? And to me, right now, if he's not willing to take a pay cut, and we're sitting like, we want you here, but we don't want you to be the focal point anymore, maybe it's time to move on. But if you could work with him and he could humble himself and take a lesser role and lesser money, so they could build out this team more correctly, so they could have the shot to finally win a championship that they've been craving for the last 5 years. Y'all been teasing them, getting close and close every single time. Been there twice and lost both times. They're desperate for a win now. They're desperate for a win. They're desperate for a ring now. And it it will behoove you. It will really behoove you to have this conversation with Jimmy and be like, all right, bro, we understand the importance of you. We understand everything you've done for us. We understand how good of a player you is, your competitive nature, all this, your culture, this, that, and the third. But we cannot allow you to be the number one guy, nor can we allow you to be making number one money, because we're trying to build out this team the right way so we can have a legit shot and won't have to gas out when it's time to win a finals like we do every single time we made it. So most importantly, I want to hear what y'all think. Do y'all think that they should trade him? Do y'all think they should have that talk? What should they do with Jimmy Butler? But I don't know what they should do right now. Like it seemed like a little trouble in paradise in Miami going down there. I mean, of course they got Terry Rozier. That's a new thing down there going on. So like the team ain't like terrible. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're in a perfect position where, or they're at that position where they're either going to go up or they're going to go down. Either you're going to make a move that's going to help you in the future to sustain the future and be more of a winning coach, a winning team in the future, or you're going to keep trying to do what the Bulls is doing and win by continuity. You're going to put yourself in a dumbass pickle and you're going to be 2 years down the road and can't make no trades because nobody wants their ass. So I think it's a time to have that conversation. Pat Riley, I understand he's the competitor and everything, but you said it yourself. You tired of motherfuckers talking and they ain't playing. We want to win at this point. So, hey, this has been another episode from Stev0 Speaks on NBA System. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna be back with some other videos soon. You know, it's NBA season playoff starting. Probably gonna drop something about these Timberwolves because I'm telling you, Denver is in trouble. But yeah, make sure I like, comment, subscribe. It's NBA Central with your boy Stev0 Speaks, and I'm out. Peace.
This has been a presentation